We've been traveling full time for going on 2 years now, and someone the other day asked if I have ranked everywhere that we've been. And given what an exercise in futility that would be, of course the answer is yes. So we're gonna get into it, and I'll start with a couple of rules. First, if there was a place that we went like solely for the nature, I don't really have that included because as silly as this all is, ranking like Victoria Falls against Tokyo seems a little bit a step too far. Like, we have to keep the ridiculousness of this to a contained level. And second, just for some context, all of these places I typically put on the list like right after we went, which I think was fair. It gives this sort of like raw emotional, like, what did I actually think of this place? And I haven't changed them. So there might be some that now I look back on and say like, yeah, I would maybe rather go back there than there. But like, how hard do we actually need to think about any of this? At number 77, and truly the only place on this list that like I actually didn't enjoy, was Manila. I saw plenty of people beforehand being like, spend as little time in Manila as you can. But I've seen people say that about so many places that I've really enjoyed. But this is one of the few times I actually wish I would have listened to people on the internet. So this is one of those where it's like, just because I have a place low on this list doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it or like love the country, because Namibia is one of my favorite countries in the world. But Windhoek is just kind of fine. It's got one museum with like pretty architecture, but the inside's a little bit picked over. There's not necessarily like a ton of restaurants or places to just go sit and hang out at. It's a great place for a day or two to get in and out of the country and get you oriented with everything. But yeah, no one's going on holiday in Windhoek. Next is Casablanca, which is kind of seen as like the flyover city for Morocco. It's got the largest international airport, so like it's the easiest to get in and out of. The train system, it's kind of like the pivot point for it. And honestly, I enjoyed it a lot more than people like hyped it up to be. A lot of great cafes, there's great areas to walk around, there's a couple markets. This is, I believe, the largest mosque in Africa. So like, it's nice, it's pretty, it's not gonna blow you away. There are some really cool things about Doha, like this museum is one of the greatest I've been to in the world. But the cities in the Gulf countries in general just like aren't really my thing. I've spent enough time in suburban Texas that like I don't need to go to another country to do it again. And that's kind of what a lot of these places feel like. It can be very hard to find like local or authentic food. They're not the easiest places to walk around. And it always feels a little bit weird being in these cities that are so overbuilt so that when you get anywhere, there's nobody there. Like, you go to the most beautiful mall you've seen in your life and like there's nobody walking around. It's a little bit eerie. There's plenty about Tirana that I really enjoyed, like great cafe culture, great bars, great places to hang out. Like, the city just kind of feels like a third place where like everywhere you go there's just somewhere to sit and hang out. You've got a big, beautiful park, but like infrastructure wise it's a little bit lacking. I don't know, it was a really nice place to be for a little bit. Pictures from a day trip to Durrës, which is on the coast. To me, just kind of a place you walk away from and go, that was fine. Monte Rosso and just like the Cinque Terre in general are really, really nice in the morning and really, really nice in the evening, when you can just kind of wander through the streets, feel like you're getting lost, and have that like Italian coastal dream. But after like 9 or 10 a.m. when the day tripper trains start to show up, it is miserable. Where you just kind of look around and go, Jesus Christ, I feel so bad for the people who live here and have to deal with this every day. Obviously, it's beautiful though. Addis Ababa is a place that I think I wanted to love more. Honestly, like, we had a really good time here. There is incredible history, there's some great museums. Ethiopian cuisine is one of my favorites in the world. Like, we had so much good food. But just kind of the logistics that come from a lot of the major cities in Central Africa make it tough. Where like you're trying to get a taxi and you're going like 2 miles away and it takes you like 25 to 30 minutes. It just gets tiring after a while. Like, that aside, this would be way higher on my list, because when we would like get somewhere for the day, the time between when we would get somewhere for a day to when we would come back to our apartment was great. But it's hard to ignore the logistical pieces of it, which are tough. Hopefully after this one, I'm going to cover 10 spots in each of the next videos, and in however many that is, we'll be done with this exercise.